we talked about the offensive line in general. To me, the big loss for this offense is Laken Tomlinson.
This looks like it sounds like a movie. Losing
Laken. Because look, he's not the greatest guard in the world, but he's a good starting guard, and he's the one player on this team, on this offense, that was pretty much in the lineup every single play the last 5-6 years. He's been here since week 2 of 2017. You know, they've had lots of different left tackles, centers, right guards, right tackles. They've had Laken Tomlinson at left guard. And for whatever reason, the team always gives him the best offensive lineman on the team award every year. Him. I think that's a little much, but he was a constant. He's gone, and now they're going to hopefully Aaron Banks or someone who hasn't proven it before. This loss in particular, going from the ultimate rock and consistent player to the ultimate question mark, is it? I mean, I guess if the guy proves he's good week 1, it's no big deal, right? Whoever the guy is.
Yeah, so I think sometimes you don't realize how good offensive linemen are until they're gone or injured, right? That's when you're like, oh wow, this guy was pretty good, because then the sacks start coming. You can't move people in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
You end up you don't see some of the things that offensive linemen do. Mm-hmm. It's not always as apparent as Trent Williams highlights, right? But so this might be a case where, whether it be Aaron Banks or whoever steps into that position, might not be able to play up to the level of Laken Tomlinson. He did make the Pro Bowl this year, right? He was Pro Bowl. Was he?
I believe so. Yes. And the thing is, like, I guess you could say I feel like Kyle hasn't really.
He also was a first-round pick, right? He was a first-round pick. I mean,
yes,
that's not easy. If you're a guard and you're a first-round pick, that's saying something as far as your ability, right? Because for you to be a guard and picked in the first round means you have to have some kind of talent, right? So now, is he probably a Hall of Fame level guard? No. Probably no, but I think he did have a certain level of athletic ability that warranted of being a first round pick. And I think you kind of saw that in his play, like he seemed he could handle people one-on-one. The problem is when they start throwing stunts and things like that, that at him. So if he knew what was coming at him, he could handle it, right? But I think some of the mental stuff, maybe when he couldn't see a stunt coming, then he had issues. But I think as far as ability, he can handle guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, in the last 5 years, they were very much a perimeter-oriented run game. So maybe his run blocking contributions weren't as pronounced because it was all about Kittle and McGlinchey and Trent Williams and Joe Staley and the edge guys, use check. This year, though, it seems like they're probably going to be doing more shotgun zone read stuff, and that's a lot of combo blocks with the center and the guard. And I mean, geez, you could use someone like Laken Tomlinson for that. And you know that the Niners really valued him highly because Niners East. Niners Northeast, the Jets just gave him $10 million a year, and those guys were all in the Niners organization. I'm sure the Niners agree that he's that good. They don't have the budget for it.
Right.
So they're going from someone who was clearly an impact player, someone that they valued to a total question mark. Maybe Aaron Banks is the truth, but as you pointed out, that's a late second round pick that people were like, wow, that's a reach even there, as opposed to Laken, who was a first round pick.
Right. Yeah, it's my question, I guess, it's because they have a lot of, I would think, for a team that you consider as contending or contender, they have quite a bit of holes or new players that they're fitting in there. And my question would just be are all of those going to work out? What are the odds that all of them you're going to nail all of them?
Shouldn't you be counting on maybe a 50% hit rate or something around that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think there's 5.
Maybe Jake Brendel's great and Aaron Banks isn't, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
But on the offensive line, if Jake Brendel's terrible, but Aaron Banks is okay, that's not good.
I just want to point out that the Niners were credited for giving up 33 sacks last year. And according to Assist Data Hub, Laken Tomlinson was responsible for 2 of them. I think it was probably his best season in the league, probably why he got paid so much. I'm curious how they attribute sacks, and I know quarterbacks are attributed responsibility sometimes as well, but just pointing out that the Niners are going from someone who was as solid as could be last year to, I mean, Aaron Banks could be the kind of guy who gives up 11 sacks. Who knows? Tom Compton did that last year in less than 300 pass blocking snaps. That's why I feel a little justified in saying that in all the stuff that I said about Tom Compton in training camp, because I was just looking at pass protection. He was that bad in pass protection. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And the thing you have to consider with the Niners is the Niners are always in the bottom in terms of in terms of pass attempts in the league. So like 33 sacks on the Niners is not the same as 33 sacks on the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are throwing the ball more. So when you look at it from that perspective, it's actually a bigger number.
Guy asks who the remaining free agents. Looking, JC Treader's still available. Center. They could get him.
I think there's some guard. I think the guard from the Giants. I can't remember his name. I think he's out there. There are some. I think
Julio Jones.
Who?
Julio Jones. Nate Solder
at guard.
Landon Collins. Jason Pierre-Paul.
Oh, okay. You're talking about overall.
I'm just looking at people. Yeah. Will Fuller still available?
Okay, so bonus topic, since we're talking about this, or if the Niners did sign a free agent, where do you think, like, what position?
Ndamukong Suh. Serious.
That's probably
Ndamukong Suh. How about that? Nose tackle. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it does fit them, right? Like sign another defensive lineman.
Isn't that Kyle said he wants 18, right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Isn't that who Javon Kinlaw's supposed to be? Ndamukong Suh? Bring in Ndamukong Suh. He's 35. Who cares?
Yeah.
He won't come here, though.
And Jason Pierre-Paul.
Sign a tax-free state. Yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul. Why not?
Yeah. JPP.
Do it. Play for Chris Kasaric. Ndamukong Suh.
Sign him on 4th of July.
Do you remember those Jackass videos where Bam Margera would like hit his head as hard as he could on the
Yeah.
He was funny. I've been going back and watching a lot of the CKY videos, because there's the new Jackass one and Bam's not in it, and they kind of just wrote Bam out of the whole history.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I kind of thought, I mean, that was the first exposure to Jackass I had, was Bam beating up his dad. And then I fell in love with Pontius, but I mean, the first, it was like, oh my God, who is this rock star who he's famous because he skateboards and hits his dad, and his dad thinks it's funny? Wow. I got to watch this all the time.
I love Wild Boys. Like Wild Boys was one of my favorites.
Steve-O and Pontius?
Yeah, it was like
Evil Bam was not that funny.
No,
not me.
But just like the stuff that what they would do, like dress up in a zebra costume and just run around the African savannah, like attacked by lions. Like, who does that?
Still, though, the reason that show took off is because of Bam, in my opinion. But I mean, he wasn't the best person on that show, but he was the star at the beginning. I don't know why. Because he's probably the best skateboarder. His style on the skateboarding.
Yeah, Niners. If you're listening, maybe the new position group name could be Wild Boys.
Wild Boys. All right. Isn't that a song by Duran Duran? Also, just saying. Okay, moving on.
I did realize that topic down there, losing Laken, sounds like a movie name, but then the guy that we were talking about before was Chris Forrester, Finding Forrester.
Losing Laken, Finding Forrester. Oh, that's great. That was a good movie, by the way. Sean Connery. Busta Rhymes in the movie. Busta Rhymes.
Shout out to the late Sean Connery.
He died?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he died.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to the late Sean Connery.